Hello students, we are now moving to the chapter 2 of our class 12 syllabus, that is the sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. Now what is a flower? The flower is a highly modified shoot meant essentially for the sexual reproduction of the plant. The flower is a highly modified shoot meant essentially for the sexual reproduction of the plant. Parts of a typical flower, if I go at it, so the different parts of a flower are best understood by referring the structure of a typical flower. First I have written, you see the bract, the word bract. What is a bract? A flower is generally borne on the lateral side of the peduncle at a node in the axil of a leaf-like structure known as bract. Okay, a flower is generally borne on the lateral side of the peduncle at a node in the axil of a leaf-like structure called the bract. And what is the function of the bract? It protects the flowers in the bud condition. It protects the flower in the bud condition. Okay. Now the word is coming, the word bracteate. Bracteate means ki? A flower rising in the axil of a bract is called the bracteate. And if the bract is absent at the base of a flower, like flower is said to be ebracteate. So what is the meaning? What is the actual meaning of the word bracteate and ebracteate? Bracteate means the flower having bract. Ebracteate, the flower is devoid of the bract. Flower arising in the axil of a bract is called the bracteate, and if the bract is absent at the base of the flower, it is known as the ebracteate. Now the word pedicel is coming. What is pedicel? The stalk of the flower is called the pedicel, which exposes the flower in favorable condition. Not in favorable position, obviously, for pollination, and the flower is called the pedicellate. Pedicellate flower means the flower possessing pedicel. The stalk of the flower is called the pedicel, which exposes the flower in favorable position for pollination, and the flower is called as the pedicellate. If the pedicel is absent, then the flower is known as the sessile flower. If the pedicel is absent, then the flower is known as the sessile flower. Okay. Sometimes there is a very short pedicel present in the flower. Such flower is described as the subsessile. Subsessile. So what is subsessile? Sometimes there is a very short pedicel present in the flower. Such flower is described as subsessile. In some flowers, two small leaf-like structures are also present on the flower pedicel called the bracteoles. So what is that called? That is known as bracteoles. Okay. That is called the bracteoles. So what is bracteole? In some flowers, two small leaf-like structures are also present on the flower pedicel called the bracteoles. So what will be the flower called? The flower will be known as the bracteolate flower. If the bracteolates are absent, the flower is known as ebracteolate. Now, what is thalamus? What is thalamus? The pedicel has an upper solen portion called the thalamus. It is also known as the torus. It is also known as a receptacle. Thalamus is considered as an axis of the flower. Okay, thalamus is considered as an axis of the flower. So now this thalamus bears four types of floral leaves arranged in successive folds. What are these? Sepals, petals, stamens, and carpels. In group or collectively, these folds are called the calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. You know it very well. So a flower is a branch of a stem. Actually, the flower is a branch of a stem specially modified for sexual reproduction. The sexual reproductive organs are found in flowers of the angiosperm. The stamen and carpels represent the male and the female sex organs. You know it very well. Stamen represent the male sex organ, and the carpels the female one. Female sex organs takes part. Calyx and corolla do not take part in the sexual reproduction. Calyx and corolla they do not take part in sexual reproduction. And smallest flower, you know it is Wolffia microscopia, and the largest flower is Rafflesia. And what is the national flower of India? That is lotus. What is the scientific name of lotus? It is Nelumbium. The axis on which the flower develops is called the peduncle or the mother axis. It represents the posterior side Now it represents the axis on which the flower develops, you know it is known as the peduncle of the mother axis, and it represents the posterior side. Now it is coming what is known as the complete and perfect flowers. Complete and perfect flowers. Now it is coming complete and perfect flowers. If all the four holes are remain present, then the flower is known as the complete flower, and if any hole remain absent in a flower, it is known as the incomplete flower. Followed what I have told? Four holes, that means calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. These are the four major holes in a flower. If all the floral holes are remain present, it is known as the complete flower, and if any one of the holes remain absent, it is known as the incomplete flower. Now it is coming the word perfect or bisexual or hermaphrodite. Okay. The flower which possesses both the essential organs is known as the perfect or the bisexual or the hermaphrodite. Both the essential organs. If any of the two reproductive organs is missing, then this flower will be called as imperfect or unisexual. Bi means what? Two. Sexual, that means both the reproductive organs if remain present, then it is known as the perfect or bisexual or hermaphrodite. And if any one of the two reproductive organs is missing, the flower is described as imperfect or unisexual. In unisexual flowers, if carpels are absent, followed what I am telling, if carpels are absent, if unisexual flower, if carpels are absent, it is termed as male flower or the staminate flower, then it is the male or staminate flower. Okay. And when stamens are absent, if stamens are absent, then it is known as female or pistillate flower. Sometimes both the essential holes are absent in the flower. Such a flower is known as a neuter flower. Both the essential holes are remain absent. Okay, then both the essential holes are remain absent in the flower, then it is known as the neuter flower. A plant may have both male and female flowers, and that is known as the monoecious. A plant may have both male and female flowers and are termed as the monoecious. Example you take maize, coconut, and when male and female flowers are present on the different plants, the plant is spoken as a dioecious. Examples you take papaya, mulberry, date plum. Followed what I am saying? A plant may have both male and female flowers are termed as monoecious. Both. Having both male and female flowers. And when male or female flowers are present on the different plants. And here both male and female flowers are present in the same plant. And here it is present in the different plant. Then it is known as the dioecious plant. Okay. Now it is coming pre-fertilization. That is a formation and development of the pollen grains. I will come first from that is the formation and development of the pollen grains. Okay. Now pre-fertilization. Pre-fertilization, first one is the formation and the development of the pollen grains. Okay. So number A, what is coming? Stamen. Stamen is a flower, consists of two parts. The long narrow stalk like filament and upper broader knob like bilobed anther. The proximal length of the filament is attached to the thalamus or the petal of the flower, and the number of length of stamens vary in the different species. Okay. Next is coming is the anther. Anther is what? A normal biatheous or diatheous anther is made up of two another lobes which are connected by a strip of sterile plant called the connective. This one. Two anther lobes contain four elongated cavities or pollen sacs. The pollen sacs, what it is known as? Microsporangia, in which pollen grains are produced. Okay, I am repeating it. Follow this one. If you cannot follow, you will not able to answer any of the questions. Stamen is a flower, consists of two parts. The long narrow stalk like filament and upper broader knob like bilobed anther. The proximal end of the filament is attached to the thalamus or the petal of the flower. The number and length of the stamens vary in different species. Now structure of anther, when I am coming, a normal biatheous or diatheous anther, it is made up of two anther lobes which are connected by a strip of sterile part called the connective. Two anther lobes contain four elongated cavities or the pollen sacs. Pollen sacs are also known as the microsporangia. Microsporangia. Now it is coming. See the structure of microsporangia. Now it is structure of what I will learn. What I will make you learn now? The structure of microsporangium. Okay, that means what? Pollen sac. Followed? If you have any queries regarding my teaching, just do comment me so that I can understand that who is following and who is not following. Young anther, while it is still in flower, but in TS reveals the presence of the outermost epidermis. The outermost wall layer lying just below the epidermis is called the endothecium. Endothecium or fibrous layer, or it is known as the fibrous layer. Why it is known as the endothecium or the fibrous layer? Because wall two radial and inner develop fibrous thickenings on them except at the junctions of the two pollen sacs. Below the endothecium there are 1, 2, 3 middle layers of either 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 middle layers of parenchyma cells. The cells of innermost wall layers are radially elongated and rich in protoplasmic content. This layer is known as the tapetum. This layer is known as the tapetum. The tapetum forms the what does it form? It forms nutritive tissue. It forms a nutritive tissue nourishing the development microscope. The cells of the tapetum are generally multinucleate, that means having many nuclei, and may have large polyploid nucleus. The tapetum was provide nourishment to the young microscope mother cell either by forming a plasmodium or through diffusion. The pollen sac wall encloses a number of archosporial cells that further forms microspore mother cells, that is also known as microsporocytes. Microsporocytes. In the beginning, microspore mother cells are polygonal and closely packed. But as the anther enlarges, the pollen sac becomes spacious and gets loosely arranged. A few microscope mother cells become non-functional and are finally absorbed by developing microspores. And during microsporogenesis, the nucleus of each microspore mother cell undergoes what? Meiosis. And gives rise to how many fold? 4, and gives rise to 4 haploid nuclei. That is known as microspore tetrad. Okay, these 4 nuclei are arranged in a tetrahedral manner, forming tetrahedral tetrad. The 4 microscope mature, dehydrate and separate from each other, and each develop a characteristic shape or form which differs in different species of plants. Now it is coming structure of microspore. It is what? Structure of microspore, that is pollen grain. As we have discussed earlier, pollen grains developed from the diploid microspore mother cell in pollen sacs of anthers. Typically, pollen grain is a haploid unicellular body. Pollen grain is a haploid unicellular body with a single nucleus. Pollen grains are generally spherical, measuring about 25 to 50 micrometers in diameter. The outer surface of the microscope may have spines, ridges or furrows, which may vary in other ways in different species. There may be oval, ellipsoidal, triangular, lobed or even crescent-shaped pollen grains. The cytoplasm is surrounded by 2 layers. The outer layer is known as is the exine. It is thick and sculptured or smooth. It is cuticularized and the cutin is of special type of fatty substance called, what is there in it? Sporopollenin, which is resistant to high temperature, strong acid and alkalis and biological decomposition. In insect pollinated pollen grains, the exine is covered by a yellowish viscous grains. The yellowish viscous and sticky substances. In insect pollinated pollen grains, the exine is covered by a yellowish viscous and sticky substance called pollen kit. Pollen grains are well preserved as fossils because of the presence of this one, sporopollenin. Okay, at certain places the exine remains thin. The thin areas are known as the germ pores. Germ pores when they are circular in outline, and germ furrows when they are elongated. The cytoplasm is rich in starch and unsaturated oil. Uninucleated protoplast becomes 2 to 3 celled at the later stages of development. And the branch of study of these pollen grains, you know what is called? It is known as palynology. Okay, so I do think so you have followed it. Now development of the male gametophyte. Development of the male gametophyte starts in pollen grains. It starts in pollen grains. Okay, while still present in the microsporangium or the pollen sac, and this is known as a precocious germination. And this is known as a precocious germination. Okay, microspore undergoes only two mitotic divisions. First mitotic division leads to the formation of larger vegetative cell and smaller generative cell. Vegetative cell is also known as the tube cell. The vegetative cell is bigger and has abundant food reserve and large irregular shaped nucleus. These cells do not possess any cell wall and is represented only by cell membranes. Now, a temporary callose wall is laid down between the two cells. Is laid down between the two cells. Okay, the callous wall spread between the generative cells and the intine to finally pinch it off. Soon this callous wall dissolves and generative cell lies freely in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell. Generative cell may be elliptical, lenticular or even spindle shaped. The cytoplasm contents of generative cell are almost hyaline and do not possess much of the stored food material. The larger vegetative cell contains fat, starch and some type of protein granules. It is usually at these two-celled or bicell stage. Two-celled means only bicell stage. The pollen grains are liberated from the pollen sac of anther lobes. Okay, after falling of pollen grains on stigma, post-pollination changes occur. Pollen grains absorb water and nutrients of the stigmatic secretion through its germ pores. The intine protrudes out through one of the germ pores or through a germ furrow. The generative nucleus divides to form two male nuclei, which become surrounded by cytoplasmic masses and appear as distinct male gametes. It appears as distinct male gametes. Followed? Protruded intine from pollen actually tube nucleus migrates to pollen tube. Tube nucleus migrates to pollen tube. Formation of male gametes can occur in vegetative cell or pollen tube. Usually generative cell comes down into pollen tubes and then divides to form the male gametes. The hinder region of the pollen tube is highly vacuolated. This region plucked from the anterior part by the development of callose. The pollen grain or male gametophyte in angiosperm is highly reduced. Now the word is coming, pistil. What is pistil? The gynoecium or the pistil is composed of one or more carpels. A carpel has three distinct parts, namely ovary, style and stigma. and is a highly modified leaf folded along the midrib. The margins of the leaf fuse to form the ventral suture of the carpel and the midrib side represent the dorsal suture. A cushion-like parenchymatous outgrowth develops on the ventral side called the placenta. On which what bonds? Ovules are born. Okay, the ovary is a basal swollen portion of the pistil containing one or more chambers or loculi, and accordingly the ovary is known as unilocular. If more than one, two, then bilocular, trilocular, tetra, penta, multilocular, and on the basis of the number of carpels, the gynoecium is of just monocarpellary, bicarpellary, tricarpellary, tetra, penta, polycarpellary. On the basis of free and fused carpel, gynoecium is of following nature, that is apocarpus and syncarpus. So apocarpus means there are two or more carpels in a gynoecium which are free from each other, and syncarpus in this form two or more carpels are fused together to form a single compound ovary. Stigma is actually the upper generally knobed part of the pistil. It acts as a landing platform for the pollen grain, while style is generally long and slender part of pistil which raises stigma to increases the chances of pollination. So up till this today, next day we will start the development of ovule and the female gametophyte. Hope you have understood it. If you have not if you are finding yourself that you have any problem regarding my lecture, then do write in the comment box so that I can modify it, I can make you understand. So, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. It is very essential to subscribe my channel and to get the notes of it. Each and everything will be available after you subscribe the channel. Okay, so stay safe and subscribe my channel, and God bless you. Thank you.